Hi there, welcome to episode 20 of Weight Loss on the Daily. I am your host, Chris Barlas, and today we're talking about happiness. And I'm just going to throw it out there. It's going to sound strange, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. I feel too many of us are focusing on losing weight when we instead should be focusing most of our attention on becoming happier. And I know, again, I told you it was going to sound strange. But here's why I say that. Because in the 13 years I've been coaching people, anytime someone comes to me with a health, fitness, or more specifically weight loss goal, and they tell me I want to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, whatever their goal is, I always ask them, okay, so what's going to change about your life once you achieve your weight loss goal, right? Once you lose the weight, what's going to be different about your life? And they always say that they'll become happier. Once they achieve their goal, they'll be happier, and that's what they really want. And happiness means a lot for different people, but they always use that word happy, right? I'll be happier with myself. I'll be happier in general, right? And I challenge that because I've met a lot of people who have achieved their weight loss goals. And unless they did something else to kind of work on the happiness part, they'll achieve their weight loss goals and the happiness will be there for a little while, but then it's lost and they're 30, 40, 50 pounds thinner, but they still feel the same emptiness that they felt before. They're not any happier. And thus they slide backwards, right? They stop exercising, they stop eating so well. I think that happiness and losing weight are two completely different skill sets, right? And in fact, if they are paired together, it's not that losing weight will make you happier, because I don't think it will. I think if you become happier, you'll have a better time losing weight. You'll take care of yourself more, you'll exercise more, you'll eat better, and thus you'll lose weight. I think happiness comes before weight loss. And I say things a lot to certain people when it comes to food, and I tell people, look, if the food that you're eating right now is one of your greatest sources of joy, right, the high fat, the high calorie dessert type food, if that gives you kind of like the greatest amount of joy, or one of the things that gives you the greatest amount of joy in your life, you're not going to be able to lose weight. You're not going to be able to give it up, right? When I tell people you have to cut out all the processed sugars and fats, and a lot of people say, well, that's the thing I look forward to the most after my workday, or that's the thing I look forward to the most in my day in general. And that there lies the problem. So instead of focusing on losing weight at first, I always shift people, like I'm shifting you hopefully today, in the direction of trying to become happier, whatever that means to you. And to be very honest, I don't have Chris's top 5 tips to becoming happier or living a happier life, but I don't want this just to be philosophical. I want to give you some practical take-home strategies that will help you. And the only one I'm going to give you today is to read this book. I have absolutely nothing to do with this book. I have nothing to gain financially by recommending this to you. But this book was written in 2007, and about 2008, 2009, when I was going through a really rough period in my life, I read this book and it helped me tremendously. And it's called Happier. I'm just hopefully holding it up so you can see it. It's written by a guy named Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, and he was a professor at Harvard, and he taught the very first course at Harvard on, get this, happiness. Yes, a course at Harvard on happiness. And it started off as like a joke, right? But what started off as a joke turned into one of the most popular courses that Harvard University offered their students. I think like a third of the graduating class after a couple of years had taken this course because it was so popular and so helpful. This book is the backbone of that course, right? This is like a summary of what that course was about. And it is a tremendous book. And it won't give you the tips on how to become happier, but it will make you think about happiness in a different way. And it'll also get you to wonder, well, am I going towards happiness or away from it in what I'm doing in my life? And it'll give you some recommendations that will help you live a happier, more fulfilling life, and thus feel more centered, balanced, and will help you with whatever goal you have, regarding whether it be weight loss, make more money, whatever it is, relationships, you name it, right? So I hope you found that helpful. I know it's a little bit more philosophical, not tactical, but happiness really comes first before losing weight. It is the way it is, right? And I know some may watch this and go, yeah, whatever. And some of you may have turned this off already, but if you're still watching, I really implore you to think about that. A happier life is just a healthier life in general. And once you're happier, your goals have a much better chance of coming true. Hi there, I'm Chris Barlis. Thanks for joining me today. A common question I'm asked a lot is, why is it so difficult to keep the weight off once I achieve my goal, right? People will achieve their weight loss goal and slowly start finding themselves slipping backwards. And before they know it, they're right back to where they started, and all that hard work goes down the drain, and it's very frustrating. Why does this happen? Well, a lot of people blame their motivation, their willpower, discipline, but the answer might not be psychological. In actuality, it actually might be physiological. So our bodies have these things called set points in terms of how much we weigh. It's basically where our body and brain feel comfortable with us being. And let's say your set point is 135 pounds and you lose 30 pounds pretty quickly. Your body goes into this starvation and survival mode, right? Red flags go off and your body does everything in your power to get you back to your original set point at 135. It slows your metabolism down. It makes sure you don't expend too many calories, so it makes you stop fidgeting. It makes you feel tired. You're not going to want to exercise. It makes you moody. Cravings increase. Temptations increase, right? It does everything in your power to get you back up to 135. Now that makes sense because you don't want to be too thin. You don't want to starve yourself. Your body goes, okay, I need to survive, so here's how I'm surviving. The problem becomes, though, your body doesn't really know the difference between 135 and 235 when it comes to your set point. So if your body's pretty comfortable with you being 235, if you lose 30 pounds because you want to get healthy and achieve your weight loss goals, the same mechanisms kick in. It's going to be harder for you to burn calories, and it's going to be harder for you to expend them as well, right? Cravings will increase. Your body will fight you tooth and nail to try to get you back up to where you started at 235. And I know it doesn't seem very fair, but it is just what it is. So the reason this can happen is if we lose too much weight too quickly. The answer is kind of slow and steady. So how much weight is too much? Well, according to researchers, you want to lose no more than 10% of your body weight at first. And then once you do that, you want to give your body a chance to reset its set point to that lower number for 4 to 6 months. And once you do that, your body will get used to it. That'll be your new set point. You won't fight against yourself anymore. And then you can lose another 10%. So let's say you're 180 pounds now. You want to lose up to 18 pounds. So that'll get you to 162 pounds. Once you're at 162, stay there for 4 to 6 months. Work on maintaining that weight. And once you do, your body will reset itself. That'll be your new set point. And you can work on losing another 10% or 16 pounds at that point. So literally after a year, you'll probably go from 180 to 146. So that's a 34-pound weight loss, and you'll do it in such a way, by honoring the set point, that your body won't be fighting you, and it'll be much easier to maintain that weight loss, right? Think about going into the ocean or going into a pool. You go in at first and you're freezing, right? Because every part of you wants to get out. Your body's going, it's cold, it's cold, it's cold. Go out so you get warm again. But if you stay in it for a little bit longer, your body gets used to it, and you can stay in all day if you wanted to, right? Until you get bored, because your body gets used to it. That's how this works as well. So don't focus on losing too much weight too fast. Instead, focus on losing 10% of your body weight first. Keep there for 4 to 6 months, and then try another 10% and keep going until you achieve your goal. That is the physiological way to lose weight and keep it off. Kathy asks, I'm having trouble measuring my food. It seems like a reasonable request, but it just seems like a big pain. I'm not sure if I should keep doing it or if I should try another strategy. What's your suggestion? Kathy, here's my take on measuring food. I think life is too short to be measuring everything that we put into our body. That is neither natural, nor do I think is a long-term strategy for success. However, I also think that there's a fine line between not measuring your food and being completely oblivious to what you're doing. And what you want to do is kind of be somewhere in the middle. We want to be aware of how much we're eating, but we don't need to measure it each and every time. And in a later episode, we're going to go over about why calorie counting isn't exactly the greatest strategy either, because calories are an unreliable measure. I know it sounds weird, but we'll talk about it later on. But here's what my point is for today. Kathy, you don't have to measure. If you think it's being more of a stress than it is a helpful strategy, then stop measuring, but have an awareness of what's going on. And I think that's one of the things that many people struggle with, is they're not aware of how much they're truly eating. There's something that they call portion distortion, right? Because of the way things are packaged nowadays, because things are bigger as far as plate sizes and bowl sizes and glass sizes, we're not really aware just how much we're eating. So here's my tip. Really pay attention to the serving size that's on whatever you're eating. So for example, average serving size of cereal is 3/4 of a cup. Now I have an average size bowl here. It's not a particularly large bowl, and 3/4 of a cup of cereal is about half of this bowl filled up, as you can see. No more than that. So a lot of times I think we just in the morning dump the cereal into the bowl high up, and we don't realize we might be consuming twice as much as recommended, and thus the amount of food is double, and thus the amount of calories are double. Pasta. Pasta is an interesting one. Average serving size of pasta, give or take, is about 140 to 150 calories. But here's the key. This is an average size of pasta. This is an average serving size. Notice this is a small plate and it's taking up about half of it. And I'm not talking about height either. It's pretty flat. A lot of times when we eat pasta, we're eating far more than the serving suggestion, if you will. Soda. This is Coke. I'm not a big fan of Coke, but I wanted to pour something dark for you to see. And you'll see there's 140 calories of Coke in this glass. That's 12 fluid ounces or 1 serving size. And it takes up a little bit more than half of, this is not even a big glass, just an average size glass. So if we pour it up to the top, we're getting more calories than we even thought we were getting. And of course, if you go back for seconds and refills, you're getting even more. And don't get me started on those supersized containers. Just think about how many calories you're truly having there. Sometimes it could be as many as 5 to 6 times what it is, almost like 1,000 calories in one big serving of soda. And then there's ice cream. And ice cream I need to make a little room for. I'm a fan of ice cream. I really love ice cream, and imagine my disappointment when I learned that the average serving size or recommendation serving size for ice cream is a half a cup. And here's a half a cup of ice cream. And this is a regular bowl, right, that I would usually eat it in. And here's the disappointing thing. When you look at just how big a half a cup of ice cream is, it really isn't a whole heck of a lot. So I'm going to try to scoop as much out as possible, and I'm going to show you a half a cup of ice cream, or a serving of ice cream, which is usually right around 140, 150 calories. That's disappointing. That's a half a cup of ice cream or serving size. It's so easy, right, to have 4 to 5 times that amount. And in which case, we're getting close to the 750 to 1,000 calorie range. So, Kathy, I guess my point being, do you have to measure everything to the ounce? Not at all. I mean, it's a stress, it's a pain, and it's not really a long-term strategy for success. It's just not reasonable. But I want you to be a little bit more aware of what you're eating as far as serving size. That's my tip for today.